Hey guys, Sean. Yeah, so just so excited. I just want to do this quick training with you because often some trainings come across my desk, and thanks to Steph for sending this one to me. And sometimes they've got such value in them, but at the end of the day, they come from these network marketing gurus that are forever training. And so the only reason that I'm just doing this for you, I want to give you my little bit of insight on this, is because number one, when I went through the training, I realized that this is something that we've been through in the last 23 years of Herbalife building our business. But of course, you don't want to share these things with your team simply because what happens is they'll end up, getting caught up in the training game. What I call the training game is when, with these network marketing gurus, it's all about the next training and the next course and the next supersonic system, and you'll end up, spending all your money and all your time training and you never get to build your business. So that's the only reason that I'm doing this. So I've made some notes here, but I thought that, the actual content of the training was so great that I thought I definitely want to share it with you guys, because what it's about is all about building your business in a dip and how to get out of a dip. And of course, we're in that dip at the moment for a lot of people, not everybody, but for sure, there are some people that are in the dip. So I really want you to, take a listen to this training, and hopefully you can relate to some of the stuff. I know I did when I listened to the training, simply because I didn't kind of really realize it, but obviously we've been through a lot of this in 23 years. Okay. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to show you some visual here as well. So you kind of just get, it's really simple stuff. It's not a, hectic, professional presentation, but I want you to understand, guys, that everybody is going to go through this curve that you have in our business. It's called the Herbalife curve, and you know what that curve is like. When you get started and you're just super enthusiastic and everything's just going up, you've got great results on the products, and, you don't know much about them, but it's just your excitement and your enthusiasm. Everybody wants the products, and you start getting people on the products, and you don't really know what you're doing. It's like, everything's just going, and people saying, what are you doing? Instead of, I'm just using the products and talking to people. And, you start to get this massive growth going on, and it's just from excitement. And then you get into an event, maybe, like a physical event, you even get more excited, or you get onto a Zoom call and, you see what's happening on the Zoom and everybody's more excited, and you're just getting this, momentum going, and you just see this little growth curve starting to happen. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is brilliant. And then you start to lose a bit of enthusiasm. And it usually comes in around about the time where you start learning a little bit more about nutrition, or learning a little bit more about network marketing. And, the enthusiasm starts to drop down a little bit. And sometimes you kind of know what it is, and sometimes you don't, but it kind of wears off. And, as soon as that enthusiasm wears off, now this might be like in your first month, or it could be your first year, it doesn't really matter. But what happens is that it starts to drop. And it's kind of like dating, remember your first date with your wife or your girlfriend, and that first date's amazing, and the second date's amazing, and the third date's even more exciting. And, by the 100th date or year 20, it's kind of died off a bit. And, Thursday's just another Thursday, movies and dinner, you know what I mean? So there's not that enthusiasm, and it's the same thing. But as soon as that starts to happen, what happens is you start to look around. And, you start to think, what else can I do? And you start looking for the shortcuts, and you start thinking, oh, maybe I need to do that. And then you start looking at, what is Johnny doing, and what is Billy doing, and, what's happening here. And, you start to analyze what everybody else is doing around you, instead of, just carrying on doing what you were doing. But of course, it's natural. It's the natural curve in our business. So don't let it get you down. And the other thing is that you start to notice, hey, you know what, Gary was here and he was doing 5,000 volume points, and he was doing 10,000 volume points, and now he's down to this. And, that one's not on the top 10 anymore, and this one's not in the 2.5 anymore. And you start to notice all of these things. And as the more you notice those things, and you start to have a look at them, and then you start to look at your Zooms and your team Zooms, and people are like, hey, you know what, there used to be 500 people on this thing, now there's only 200. There used to be 50 people on our team call, now there's only 20. And what happens is, as you start to notice these things, you see this dip start to go down. And you get into this, this downward spiral. And of course, it's normal, but it's very difficult to get out of that dip if you don't understand the mindset of what's going on. And sometimes you feel like you're just right back where you started, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got no customers, I've got no members, those people not ordering anymore, this person quit. And you just feel like, this is, rubbish. Now you're always back. But what you do have, guys, the most important thing is you have experience. When you're at this point, you may not have customers, you may not have all of the members that you had or whatever, but you have got experience, and that counts for something for sure, guys. You're definitely not going to be without that experience. And it doesn't really matter, guys, because one thing that they can't take away from you is experience. Okay. So you're never going to go back to the same level. even though you maybe feel like you're back at that level, the experience definitely counts for something. So one other thing you've got to realize, guys, is that most people actually quit on the way up. It's a sad thing is that they get going and all of a sudden the family starts, negging them out and saying, you need to get a real job. And, network marketing is rubbish and Herbalife's a pyramid scheme. And did you see that liver story on Google? And, they just, and they're out and they have to start all over again and they go and join something else or do something else and they quit. Maybe they get a little bit further up and they get further up into the business and maybe they'll get to supervisor or whatever. And, eventually they just get negged out by something and they decide, you know what, that company's better. That one doesn't have that product or doesn't have that restrictions. Let me go do that. And boom, there they go back. They think that company's got cheaper products. That's what people can afford. And they quit on this way up. And then you get some guys that'll get, kind of to the peak of, their business. And this could be like a month, could be a year, it could be 2 years. And they start to think it's all about them. And the ego kicks in, right? And they're like, no, I don't need Herbalife. I can do this on my own. I can start my own company or I can start my own thing and, do better and whatever. And, obviously they go all the way back and they have to start again. So, this is just a normal part of our business, guys. But what you've got to understand, one of the key things about this is leadership is created in the dip, not in the rise. Okay, this is where you're going to create your leaders. And it's the most exciting part, guys. It's the most exciting part is the dip because leaders are created in the dip. Because you see, if you really want to grow your business, you want to grow your Herbalife business to where you can be financially free and you have no worries of money, you have to have leaders in your business. And you don't create leaders on the rise because everybody can hang around when it's rising up. The question is who sticks around when there's the dip? Who's the one that can step up? Guys, and this is really so important. So you're going to learn more lessons in the dip than you're going to learn on the rise for sure. Great little saying that you had was mountaintops don't teach you lessons. Rock bottom teaches you lessons. So if you're at rock bottom now, guys, that's fine. Understand that you've got choices now. Your big choice, is do I go or do I stay? Or do I work through this dip and get to that sweet spot that I know is coming? Well, you're going to know after this trading because I can guarantee you it's coming. And it's tough because sometimes you're at the bottom and you're worse off than you were and you're getting paid less than you were and it's, not easy. But so many people just don't make it through the dip, guys. And this is so sad. But the exciting thing is that you're always going to be building and rebuilding. You're always going to be doing that at some level in your business, guys. That's just normal. The dip will always come. So just don't stop. Don't stop when you're in the dip because this is your leadership. This is your lessons that you're going to learn. And, other times you see people getting this growth going and they have their big month and everything's going well and they take a month off and they lose their momentum. And they start all over again. And, it's difficult to pick the momentum up. So the key with this that you've got to learn, guys, when you got momentum, keep going. That's when you work because the dip's coming. So the difference is where are you in this little curve and this circle when the dip comes? That's the key. So when the momentum comes, keep going. The dip's going to come again for sure. Okay. If you've got momentum in your business, promise you it's coming. Okay. And the great thing about it, guys, is if you look at this curve, so there's more lessons definitely in the dip. If you look at this graph, this is the graph of what happens is you get this growth and then a dip, growth and a dip, and a growth and a dip. And the funny thing is, guys, is in the first dip, if this is your first dip, welcome. And the first dip, you panic. You're like, oh my God, what's going on? Nobody's ordering anymore. Customers are not ordering. Distributors are leaving and it's not working. And you're like, this whole complete panic. It's like the roller coaster, right? As the roller coaster's going down, you're screaming like, what's going on? Because this roller coaster is going down. But what you've got to realize is that the roller coaster is going to go up again. So that's why you've got to stay. Okay, because if you don't stay, you don't get the thrill of the up and the down again like you do on the roller coaster. Okay, do I stay or do I change? So the second dip, guys, I promise you, is going to be much more chilled. You're going to be like, oh, don't worry, this is just a dip. I know, I used to have to speak to 10 people only to get 2 customers. Now I need to speak to 20 to get 1 customer. It's okay. I'll just work through the 20 now. I know that it's going to come back to the 10 to get 2. And you just work through the dip. So there's not much of a panic. When you've ridden the roller coaster the second time, you're not as scared as you are the first time on the roller coaster, right? Because that dip's coming. You're not freaked out when the dip comes. So, just stick with it, okay? There's always going to be a plateau, okay? Everybody's crying on the way down. Everybody quits on the way down. But that's where you separate yourself. This is so true, guys. That's where you separate yourself as a leader. This is when you're going to grow up. This is when you're going to really, get some, kahunas going there. Okay. Everybody else is quitting and you stay. Okay. This is what you've got to do, guys. You've got to outwork everybody else. You've got to outperform everybody else. You've got to out-earn everybody else in your team. Okay. And this is where guys, oh, you know what? I'm not getting 2 customers out of 10 anymore. I need to speak to more people so that I can get to 20 to get to. But if you know that it's just part of the dip, then you go and do it. Okay. But here's the most important thing, guys. Why are dips so powerful? Dips are so powerful because here's the thing, guys. If people were going to quit, they were going to quit anyway. The dip just weeds them out right now. Okay. You're not going to build with these guys. And you know what I love about the dips, and I think this was the best part, and I just so realized this, is that the dips weed out all the whiners and complainers. The guys that are always complaining and this and that's wrong and this is wrong and da da da. And you know what? They quit in this time. They quit in the dance. So you start to weed out everybody that used to annoy you, and you're left with your leaders that you're actually excited about. So, as our guru says, happy days, to get rid of these guys, get rid of all the whiners and the complainers. So understand, guys, this is about mindset. To get out of this dip, it's about your mindset. You've got to fix your mindset, okay? Because the money's made in the dip, not in the rise. Why? Because the real money in our business is made when you have leaders in your team, when you have leaders that are going to go do it with or without you. If you don't have any leaders in your team yet, it's because you haven't had enough dips in your business to weed out everybody and let those leaders rise to the top. So every year, guys, let's call it the class of 2021, as our guru says, then the class of 2022, who's your class of 2023? You're always going to be building and rebuilding. It's a normal part of our business, guys. And if you don't understand this, you might be lost in the dip. And the reason I'm giving you this training is because I won't want you to be lost in the dip, because the real money is made in the dip. Okay, so don't get lost. So the more teams you build, the better, guys. If you've just got one strong line, let's say, for example, this is, okay, there's our roller coaster, right? And the roller coaster is fun if you understand the roller coaster now. Okay, but let's say, for example, you've only got one strong supervisor leg in your business, and that's 80% of your business, and that leg quits because they decide, it's not for them. Then you're going to lose half of your business. And that's why every year you want to make sure that you're building new strong lines so that you can weed out the ones that are not ready, and through the dips, find your leaders. And when you find your leaders, you start to find the people that you're going to build this business with, the leaders that are going to give you that freedom that you really want, and they're going to be able to get that same freedom. So, you've got to ask yourself the question, if you don't rebuild and use these dips to build leaders, where are you going to be in 3 years or 5 years' time? You're going to be just doing something else on the next roller coaster. But in every business, there's roller coasters. So build these lines, guys. Use these dips to build, and use these dips to find your leaders so that you can actually have that freedom that's possible with Herbalife, guys. Because when you've got lines like this, if they are, one line is doing 40%, another one's doing 20%, another one's doing 15%, you're not going to be phased when you lose 2 or 3 lines and they quit on you. If you've only got one, it's very difficult. If you've only got business in one city, very difficult. Because if the city goes down, you go down. So this is the key, guys. Use this roller coaster to build your leaders. Fix your mindset. Understand that what you're in is normal, and we're going to have an incredible time. And out of this dip is going to come some incredible leaders, and the next leaders that are going to take you and your business to the next level, guys. So I hope this has been valuable for you. Have a fantastic day, evening, wherever you are, and we'll chat soon.